Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tech Down Over, episode number 32. That is 30 plus 2. I'm joined today by our co-host and good friend, Jeff Blanchard. Hey, Jeff, how are you?
Good, thank you, Rick.
We got an interesting day of tech today, don't we?
Yes, as always. Always a lot to share.
Let's run our intro. And we are back. That's kind of weird. Our intro used to come back automatically. Our intro is not cooperating all of a sudden. But we got it launched almost on time, so that was good. We're
that's great.
Anyway, we got lots of products to show and talk about today. Some interesting, some odd, and some very useful.
Yes, well, I've been busy as well this week, just catching up on different things, and I did get something in the post that from America, from Amazon. It was interesting. I mean, you might be aware that I've just got myself back into my keyboard playing bits and pieces, and so I got something from Amazon, and I thought you can only get it in America, because you know how everything in America is bigger and better than everywhere else.
Okay.
So I got a music book there.
Oh my gosh.
And it's got 1,000 songs in it.
Wow.
And I've got 2 of them.
You have 2 of them?
It's huge.
Yeah, it looks huge. So it's a full-size sheet music book, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're about 35. It was only about $35 each.
Wow.
And then even it was worth the $20 to ship it over here to get 2, because I got 2 of them, and I thought.
So is there a specific genre, or is it just about anything?
It's just got all sorts of things, but all modern ones, not ancient ones, but it's got everything. Everyone, the Billy Joel things in there, everything you could think of. It's when the Beatles songs as well.
That's pretty cool.
But I thought, but you've got every sort of one you could possibly want. So now I've got 2,000 songs.
You'll be very busy with that.
Well, that'll last me for the rest of my life, I think. Because with all the other books I got, I thought there's nothing else you really want apart from the new stuff that might come out.
Wow, that's fun.
But I just thought that started off because it is tech related, because of the piece of equipment I did get.
One of these days you got to show us, do a little video of you playing on that thing.
I might do, because I thought I've said before, with tech you think just computers are awkward, but this is a keyboard. But the way you have to,
it's techy.
But if you want to use it the way it can be used, it's fantastic. But you still need to understand a few bits and pieces.
Now we don't have it queued up here today, but you did send me a sample. Did the Yamaha play all the instruments on that?
Yep, that was everything was on the Yamaha.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, because it had really good drumming with it. You had some background. You had the piano. It did everything.
I've just been having a ball with that, because it really makes somebody like me with a keyboard who has really no talent in that area sound really reasonably good with you. You can play a few chords. I can play a tune and that, but it's, I definitely say there's people, the proper people can do it much better than me, but it makes me sound reasonable anyway. I can kick out a tune and enjoy myself with it as well. So.
Oh, that's funny. Well, we're going to start with what do you call it? An odd product. It's called the SpotCam. Now, the SpotCam is it's a webcam, but it's also a 24-hour security camera. It records everything you do for 24 hours, and every minute, a new minute comes on, and one of the old minutes leaves. So you're always at exactly 24 hours of recording. It actually looks pretty cool, and I think you've got it queued up? Okay, so we're going to show this now. It's called the SpotCam. This is the SpotCam in action.
Wow.
It's kind of cool.
Yes, do you know my first impressions? There's going to be a lot of divorces.
That's what I was telling Clark. You know, I don't know what people are going to be streaming on that, but it's not good.
Oh, the postman's just come in the door. Oh, hey, he's moving. He's in the bedroom.
And my dog knows him.
But I can see that it's a great idea for the right reasons, but I can see 90% of its use is going to be for the wrong reasons.
Now the interesting thing, it has two versions, an indoor version and an outdoor version. The outdoor version has a speaker on it, so you could actually talk to somebody if they're outdoors, like a security camera. The indoor one I don't think has the speaker, but it runs 24 hours. I think, does it move with you, or does it just kind of keep track of what's going on within its radius? I wasn't quite sure. I don't know the price of it, but it didn't look that expensive.
And that looks good because it hooks up to the Wi-Fi, because everybody really needs something like that. As you said, stick it on the front door to keep an eye on things when people are coming and going. But it's like a black box for your house, isn't it, really?
It is.
For
It's pretty
24
cool.
hours.
Now we have another thing over here. What's the next one? Now we got this Chinese tycoon that you found. Is that the Enterprise?
Well, I was just having a look on there, and it just goes to show how much money there is in China these days. And I just came across a link there with showing the Chinese tycoon. It's got the headquarters, and it's built into the shape of the USS Enterprise, you know, the Star Trek spaceship. And I thought, gee, you must have some money to do something like that. Because,
and that's in China?
Yes, and that's in China. So, but I mean, apart from the costs of building the damn thing, you know, you'd have to have much bigger area to take up your offices, because it would be so space inefficient for as far as a building. If you had a big square building, you'd get far more people into it. So you must have to have a huge site to do that. But it's just would make quite a difference going to the office, wouldn't you? So, you know, I'm just going up to the bridge now.
Yes, go to the bridge and taking the elevator to the bridge. That'd be cool.
That's right. And you know, what would you call the boardroom? I forget what they have it in.
Now we do have. I want to know if Yeoman Rand comes with it.
Yeah, who?
Yeoman Rand. She was the first yeoman, really pretty blonde, who was on the show.
Oh, well, I can't remember that.
She was on the very first. She was only on several shows, then she reappeared on the movies.
Oh, I remember. I can
She
see
was
it. She had
pretty.
the big blonde hair.
Yes, had the little hive haircut.
Right up, real tall blonde.
Yep.
I remember.
Yeoman
her,
Rand.
yeah.
I remember that.
And
it's sort of funny.
She came
Most
back
people
in the films later, did she?
She came back in the original movies when they came out, and most people don't realize that Major Barrett, who was married to the creator of Star Trek, was also the voice of the computer.
Yes, she was all the time. So, you know, so she was in nearly every show, really, wasn't she?
Roddenberry passed away quite a while ago, but I thought she passed away recently.
Yes, I think she did, but she's
computer's
still
gone.
Carrying on. Yeah, so it's just amazing how, and so it just goes to show you, voiceover can take you far further than acting can.
I know. Now, I was thinking the other day, an Amazon Echo running the Enterprise. Alexa, warp speed 10. I'm sorry, I don't know that.
That's right.
Alexa, shields up. Can you repeat that? I'm not familiar with that.
But it is quite strange to think of. I know when I was a kid looking at Star Trek, and you know they'd go, Captain, here's your job list for today, and you have that, and gee, that's impossible. Yeah. And now we have our iPads. Well, now we've got things that are smaller than the things that they had, and they do far more. But it's amazing how that they thought it was ridiculous at the time, didn't they?
Well,
it
was all based on science. It's just that it was really at that point theoretical science. It really never existed until then. And now they're talking a tricorder is actually being developed.
And that's what a lot of people complain about with the money that NASA spend on that. Yeah, a lot of the time.
NASA wastes a lot of money.
Well, But I mean, even the stuff that they don't waste for that. But
Yeah.
even over the years, if you really put down to it, say, why do we need that? We don't.
No.
But there's a lot of advance. Everything.
Oh, sure.
When they sent people up to the moon, there's just so many things that's been because they had to develop it for
That's
that.
right.
That we've got now. Like one of the things was like those space blankets.
Yes.
Just they would have never had that if they didn't need that for the NASA thing. And there
Or
would be
Tang.
a lot of things.
Or Tang.
Tang? Oh, Tang. Well, is that
That was actually developed. The orange drink was developed for the astronauts.
You know what? Is that still on the go in America? Do you still
I think
get
so.
Tang?
Tang, yeah, it's still around.
I think it's finished years ago here, but I was cleaning out a cupboard and I found 24 empty jars of it. You used to
Wow.
keep them.
Yep, that's true.
So they went in the rubbish
Yeah,
straight.
Tang.
Well, the recycle bin straight away.
Fanta's still around somewhere too. That's not that popular though.
Fanta.
Fanta, that was another one.
Yeah, we still have that, but it sort of did die, like a lot of things, didn't they? They used to be eaten a bit, and now hardly anybody uses them.
No, it's really
Anyway.
odd. Okay, we got some other stuff going on. What's next? Intel chip. You want to give a prelude to this one?
Well, what it was, I was looking around on the internet, and there was two different things on there. There was one called the $9 computer, and it was just a 2.5 inch by 1 inch computer. But there was the Intel stick, and that's probably the one that we've got on the screen there. And it's got the 1.3 gigahertz processor running Windows 8.1.
Wow.
And it connects to a monitor via the HDMI connection, which it does have on there. And it's got a 2 gigabyte of RAM and a 32 gigabyte storage. So I
Wow.
thought, and a mini SD, and which supports up to 128 gigabyte card on it.
Wow.
But I thought something like that, and it's about the size of a memory stick. But
Yeah.
I mean, do you
How
remember
much are these going?
like,
And how much were they selling this for?
This one, I think, was about. It's further down. About $149.
Wow. So
And
in essence, it's like a small embedded system you can take with you anywhere.
Yeah, and USB to connect for the keyboard, but it's all in a memory stick. So, it's just fantastic if you just want that little bit to take with you. As I said, I know there's other things much more powerful. People say, there's iPads that do a lot. But sometimes you just want the proper Windows and you want a smaller version. And if you haven't got a huge amount of applications, and let's face it, really, if it wasn't for all the memory-hungry applications we've got, that's more than enough. You need to process a lot of things that people do.
Yeah.
It's just the graphic interface that causes a lot of the problem with things on that. But also at the same time, when you're looking at that Intel one, there was what got me. There was one called the $9 computer, which was a 2.5 inch by 1.5 inch, which runs on the Linux OS, and that was a 1 gigahertz with processor with 512 megabyte of RAM and 4 gigabyte storage.
That's
only for
amazing.
$10.
$10. Yeah.
Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. I thought, it's the sort of thing that you think, well, they'll get them small enough. They might be able to implant them, and we can just stick a cord into the back of a. Remember Vincent Price?
Yes.
He did a film, The Dr. Phibes, was it?
Yes.
Where he used to plug a 2.5 inch connector into the back of his neck so he could speak.
Yep.
And I thought, well, that's not that was far fetched then. But I thought,
And
you
it's
could
not
do
that far right now. But
so what
my
do you
only
do
concern
now?
is, can you imagine you're connected to a Microsoft machine and you get a blue screen of death?
Oh, that's right. But you say you just plug something into your ear. So what am I doing? Oh, I'm connecting the screen.
That's right.
Plug
That's
something
right.
into your ear. But that would be quite frightening if it did do that, because if it just showed you what you were thinking, well, you'd get yourself into some trouble.
That could be interesting. That's right.
So you don't want that. The truth is okay, but only sometimes. Truth can.
Did you ever
can
see the
hurt.
movie from Jim Carrey, Liar, Liar?
Yes, it was quite. He said where he just had to tell the truth.
He couldn't
all the
stop.
time.
It's a great premise, a lawyer who cannot lie.
Well, that's right. And the people say, I'll always be truthful. You might not lie, but you can't always say anything. You just don't say anything a lot of the time.
And there was some
you
funny
don't-
scenes. He's with his boss. He's having some sort of affair with his boss, and she goes, "Was I the best you've ever had?" "Nah, I've had better."
That's right.
Gets in the elevator, sees the beautiful girl with the big, and he goes, "Wow, big ones!" And he just can't stop. He gets in. Is your client guilty? Absolutely guilty as sin. That was a classic movie. They should show that at Harvard, every week. It's like, here's what really goes on.
It's a bit like the Dudley Moore film Crazy People.
Crazy People was great.
Where he decided to say, stuff this, I'm going to say it, be honest in advertising, and he made a fortune because...
That was actually a funny movie. It wasn't real popular, but it was funny.
And like the catchline said, the free kid will screw you up for life.
That's right.
And
then he winds up in the
won't say what he said
asylum.
about Porsche. He said, I won't say what he said about Porsche, but...
Yeah, I don't remember. He had all sorts of good ones.
I think it was something like maybe small and crappy, but at least you'll get laid.
Yes. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, we just went to a mature rating on this episode. No, we're okay.
That's right.
Anyway, what do we have next here? We got some fun stuff today. That was the one we just did, right? Oh, okay. Here's the $9 chip. You want to talk about this one?
Yeah, and that's the one there. But it said that's so small. That's the one we was just talking about. That $9.
Oh, it is the same one.
But that is the one that was just talking about the 1 gigahertz ones there. But now you can understand. That we was looking the other week about those smaller computers that are $1,000, so you can see how great they would be if they can do this in such a small little unit. Those $1,000 ones, you think, well, you can't be missing out on anything because that's like using the size of the Grand Canyon compared to that one for you.
True. Wow.
With that, and it's only still very little, isn't it? That box you saw before.
They're very small. The bricks are really teeny. Dell's got one a little bit bigger. There are some other ones out there, but they're still pretty small. Intel has a box. I heard it's not as good as the bricks, but again, it's pretty small. And if you don't need a lot of, if you don't have a lot of space or you don't need a lot of space, that's a perfect machine for you.
Well, I'm going to update when Windows 10 comes out. I'm definitely going to get one of them because what I like about it, you can stick it on the back of the monitor, and then you can have another system there.
Isn't that amazing? Well, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, so you can stick it on the Versa mount, I think, on the back of the thing, and just not have it, so you've got a 27-inch screen like an iMac, but it's a Windows one. And the great thing is you just take that one off and replace it because the screen will last you probably 10 years, but the computer might only last you 2 with technology.
That's true.
And so I'm still trying to figure out here, as we said last week, I've got this nice screen here. I can't figure out how to connect it to the Thunderbolt while I've got something else onto it. But
so if you do think about it, it's a little scary that, our computers are now all screwed in. So that means we're totally screwed up. I don't know. Just... What else do we have today?
Well,
here's the passport. Now, you like to travel and you carry a passport, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is a different kind of passport. Let me show you. Let me get into this shot real quick. This is just a very different kind of passport. This passport, there we go. Okay. This passport can do a white balance, a traditional white balance card. No big deal, right? Yeah. But it's a very small white balance card with a little bit of gray in that. But then there's another page to this. And you could set it up next to you. And you have to shoot this in camera raw. So if I'm shooting in raw, you take one picture first with me like this. This is mostly for pictures, but you could use it for video. So you take one picture like this, then you go into Lightroom or Photoshop, and you can use your dropper to choose the white balance setting you want.
Fantastic.
And it will automatically set it for you.
Because isn't that always the case? You always say, where's a nice bit of white I can pick?
Yeah.
And this is do that.
So this does it. So it has to be in raw, camera raw. They come with their own, there's a disc with drivers in it so that you can do some, it ties right into, I think, Photoshop and Lightroom. And, I mean, how clever. You just take it and then say, I want a little darker, I want a little lighter, I want it really dark. And these are for creative. If you really want to get into different colors and you want to create avatar or whatever else, you can do that with all of these. So you can get very creative with just your white balance and camera raw. Let's say you shoot 100 pictures in the same spot and you say, I think I want this white balance. Perfect. You have perfect skin, perfect everything just based on this. And it's such a small, when I ordered, I thought it was actually a card. And that this was just all like an advertising thing. So and it was not cheap. It was like $50 or $90. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't cheap, but this thing, photographers love this, especially if you work with Lightroom. because it saves you a lot of time in getting the exact white balance you need. Because you may have a card, this doesn't reflect it. It's almost a perfect white balance.
Yeah, that's fantastic, isn't it?
And it's
Not
called
very
the
expensive.
it's called the ColorChecker, the ColorChecker Passport.
ColorChecker
I got this at
passport.
B&H.
And that's good. It's sort of like like a.
And this is plastic. This is a nice hard plastic. It's solid.
And that's the sort of thing you throw in your camera bag, and it's just not going to be any weight. So, because don't you always struggle with a bit of white balance. I know. Yeah. I don't know about if I got it here, but there's bound to be somewhere here. Always a nice bit of a white envelope or something like that.
Oh, sure,
There's always something white if you can't find your proper white sheets. But that's so you know it's exactly white, because a lot of the time what you think is white is really not.
No, that's true. There's always a little bit of gray or something else in there.
Or else also say with that, it might be white, but if you're holding up, the light gets behind it and it's doesn't do it right, or it doesn't hold the light on it correctly, so it always does the wrong job. So that's excellent for just under, what do you say, about $50?
I can't remember if it was 50 or 99. It wasn't. It was a certain price, and I thought it was expensive. But from what I heard, everybody said it's the best because the colors are correctly tuned to all the different kinds of white balance. Not to mention go dark, inverse colors, that whole thing. They said it just does wonders, and
that's from B&H, of course. Did you
B&H
say?
was selling. You can buy it on Amazon too. I didn't check the price there, but again, ColorChecker Passport, and ColorChecker is all one word.
That's just such a fantastic shop, and I know at one company I worked with years ago that took the executives from Australia over there, I think it was, because I think they were complaining about not getting enough support here. And then they went to there and said, well, this store sells more product than your country does. This is how important, this is how important this store is.
Wow.
And I think it probably must have been that store, but it's, just amazing. So they don't seem to send me their catalog anymore, but
they probably don't do it overseas. I think the catalog is a waste of money because it's so expensive to print those. And you can go online and get it all.
You can, but I don't know
it does
about
give you ideas.
But I like to have it there. I flick through more, and I think they've understood that I find more things I would like in a bit of paper, because I probably won't click in all the sections.
Right.
But when it's in paper, I flick through. Gee, that's good. I've got no use for it.
No.
But it's really good. But I might find something in that.
I'm afraid to open it.
Yes.
I get them. I throw them away right away. I don't even look at them. It's sort of scary.
What I've been doing lately, I've been putting $50 a week away and hiding it. And then eventually when I might come, I've got a lot of money to spend. So trying to fool myself that I'm not spending as much by just hiding money away for something else.
That's true. That's a good idea. Now, do we have anything else?
Well,
Office Lens. Let's go look at Office Lens.
Well, what the Office Lens was, I think that product's been out before, but it's a software. It's an app for your phone, but I think it's been there on iOS. But this is Microsoft Office. I think it's done it. The Office Lens for Android. And what that does is, how one of the biggest things you do these days is you go to, you have a brainstorming session with your staff, and everything's put on the whiteboard. Right. And the last thing you do, you always go with the phone and take a picture of it.
Oh, sure.
But what this does is, no matter what angle you take it on, because quite often it's a funny angle and it's not straight, so it automatically straightens it up and fills up the screen, and so it does it. So you've got a perfect picture of it. Also, as well, if you've got a document that goes along with it, you can take a picture of that with your camera, and it takes it in there, then can convert it into a Word document.
Interesting.
From that and do the OCR character recognition. But I thought, geez, the fantastic sort of thing, because that's one of the big things you use your phone for, isn't it? It's whenever you're at a meeting, take pictures of notes or just boards, and even conferences. You do, the screenshot or whatever, and then this one automatically fills up the screen and makes it more presentable for you.
That's great.
But I thought that, Microsoft, I think that this is coming. They really are trying to capture that market again, and I really are impressed with them the way that they're going these days.
They've actually got a lot of buzz going on right now, and you can tell there's a youthful energy which they haven't had ever. They've never really had it.
And I'm still an Apple fan, but you know, that they do some nice products, but they don't innovate a lot. They usually get something and develop and make it better or whatever.
Right.
But then the only thing about Apple, so many people just go on and on about them that there is other things around. Like I don't even like talking about that thing you put on your wrist anymore. I'm sick to death of hearing about it, especially the Apple one. So, because there's so many others out there, but it's. It seems that nobody else can do it, but I'm still a fan of it. But it'll be interesting. I'm waiting to see when that HoloLens comes out with Windows 10. Hopefully,
I don't know if that's coming out at the same time. I thought the HoloLens was coming out later in the year, but I may be wrong.
Well, they did promise it to come out with Windows.
Oh, they did.
But you know, that's you never know. And I'm one of those. I don't mind if it doesn't. I want it to come out when it's right. I don't want it to come out just so they've got it there and then it not work. I would rather them say develop it a little bit further and come out and not, because the worst thing is having something like that come out when they're not ready. Then people get annoyed with it and they say, "Oh, that's a load of rubbish," and it dies.
Right.
And it's a great concept, and if it comes out correctly, I think they're on a winner with that one, because I just love that. If we could have the HoloLens on now with what they're showing with the YouTube, you could be pointing at something on my desktop saying, "No, press this button, Jeff," and you pointing at my desktop, pointing at my monitor when I'm trying to connect things. And I just think it's just fantastic, and you could put overlays on it. I think that's a fantastic thing for training as well. So, could you imagine if you had somebody you're trying to talk through something when you're showing?
I know, that's pretty cool.
Something, and you can just point on on the device that they're looking at. So no, this button, and you can point at it and things like that. Just like e-learning, live interactive e-learning.
Sure.
So,
and we did a couple pictures. Let me show you two of these. Of the passport in action. I forgot to show them earlier.
I saw one of them. I saw you smiling with the card.
I forgot to pay attention earlier.
You holding up the card. I thought that was smart. You'd already done that. So.
Shows how much I pay attention sometimes, right? Oh, gosh. Missed it totally. I had a bad night's sleep. Wife had cataract surgery yesterday, and she kept waking up, and then a nightmare. I was like, oh, gosh. Then she slept like a baby. Meanwhile, I'm up.
It was just saying about the Apple and all that. I did see that they have updated like the low end iMac. They had the higher range with the 5K monitor.
Right.
Now they've updated, so even their lower one does have the 5K monitor.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it's cheaper for them to do that.
But also, I didn't have it here, but I did see that Dell's got. 5K monitor out, and Apple just released that the iMac will drive that one now.
Oh, finally?
Because it never used to drive. It would only drive their internal one, but they were saying that it's compatible with the iMac. So I thought that'll make it good, because what I'm really waiting for is them to develop a damn monitor the same as the iMac.
I know. And they haven't done that yet.
They've still got the old...
But I think the real issue is their video cards can't drive it. That's my theory.
And because the old ones, I don't want to get them, because they still make a lot of noise and get very hot still, don't they? Because
they do, but you can cook on them. That's the only good part. So anyway, well, Jeff, guess what? We have, in 35 minutes, covered everything.
Oh, that's
Is that amazing? Yes. We just cranked today. Actually, 30 minutes, because we started 5 minutes late.
Yes.
So we cranked a whole show in 30 minutes.
Wow, that's right.
What are people going to do without more banter? I don't know.
Well, I mean, with the chat room, we just didn't have time to speak to all you people in the chat room. So
no, but we'll get to you next week.
Yeah, well, it would help if we had one as well.
Yes. But actually, we're going to start streaming soon. We haven't had time to test. Maybe next week will be a good time to test our YouTube live streaming event, which we now are capable of doing. So next week, maybe we'll make that a point. Oh, by the way, we have a guest next week.
Oh, do we? Is it a surprise this time?
No. This one is not a surprise. It's Sumit Mog. He is, I think he's an e-learning consultant in India. He's also quite an accomplished photographer.
Yes, I know him. I like him. We caught up in Orlando a couple of years ago. I did a couple of his sessions there in Orlando.
Great.
So it was fantastic. I went and had a chat with him after. But it was showing how me and you go out and take a picture of the dog laying in the background, or he took a picture of a cat had been run over in the street, and he took a picture of it, but it was a Bengal tiger.
Wow. Yeah.
And I thought, oh God, how life is different. When you run over, you just don't think about those things. He said, well, we took a picture, and I like his approach to photography. Like he says, I have a 2-foot lens. And he said, listen, what do you mean by that? He said, you see these 2 things on your feet? Move closer. 2 feet. And I just think that's what it is, isn't it? The only way you can get closer is moving. Yeah. He said, people always say about his 2-foot lens.
That's funny. But we're going to talk a little bit about Canon versus Panasonic and stuff, because I think he wants to make a change, but he hasn't yet gotten there. So it'll be interesting to see what he thinks, because he likes the idea of the cheaper cameras with just as good quality and attaching his lenses. He's got the big Canon lenses into that with Metabones or something like that. So it could be it'll be interesting.
Well, I just had one little extra thing I just saw on there before we go. There was another Nikon had what's called a Coolpix 900 P900 digital camera. It's about $600, but what got me was it had an 83 times optical zoom.
83.
And
optical.
I thought, yeah, definitely optical, and 332.
How big
digital.
is that thing?
But it was like the size of the FZ1000.
Was it really?
Yeah, and it was 24 to 2000. Was it 24 to 2000? Was it millimeter lens?
Or 2400 maybe?
Yeah, it could be something like that. But
wow, so it's a super zoom all the way.
But the only thing that put me off it only had 1080p. Well, HD, but it's damn good quality. But 60 frames. But everybody wants 4K, don't they? But if they'd made it $1,000, double the price, it would still be a fantastic. But I just thought, what a fantastic thing! I'll have to have a better look at that. But Nikon does quite a good camera. See, that's me being American. We say Nikon.
Nikon.
You say
Nikon.
Yeah,
we say
Nikon, so I'll say Nikon.
I think over here we now say Panasonic.
What did you say before? Panasonic.
Panasonic.
Yeah, that's a Sony. Some people say Sony. Canon. Yes. That's another one in the cars. We say Hyundai. You say
Hyundai. Well, it's actually Hyundai.
Yeah,
we say
we
Hyundai.
all say it wrong.
We say Hyundai here, but it's really Hyundai.
And the Subaru. Do you have Subaru?
We have Subaru.
Yeah, and you say Subaru. If you ever hear a New Zealander saying it, you think, "What on earth is that car?"
Subaru.
No, I can't even say it.
Subaru.
Subaru.
It's almost like a pizza place. Subarus. Yeah.
And I just didn't. I thought, what on earth is that?
The only company that always had a problem in the U.S. is Mitsubishi. People have a hard time saying Mitsubishi. That's a tough one.
Well, they've got an advert here now, so most people must have that here, because now they've just got this stupid advert. It's a Mitzi. It's a Mitzi. And they're going, it drives me crazy. And I thought, they've got all these people for it's a Mitzi.
We haven't heard that one yet. It's a Mitzi. No, it's a Bushi.
But it's a Mitzi. And I thought, I did have the other week, we've got a whole range of adverts with Arnold Schwarzenegger in them, so I don't know if he's gone on hard time. So he's over here doing real estate adverts. And so he said, I've decided to move back to Austria. And he's in Australia.
Good riddance.
But where's this place called Vaga Vaga? He says, it wasn't there when I left. He said, no, you're in Australia. No, you tried to trick me. He's come here and pretends he's in Austria, but no, it's Australia, Mr. Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, he's getting close to 70, if I'm not wrong. He's
starting to look like his face had more makeup on it than and stretched out.
He's having sort of an embalmed look. Let's call it that.
Well, people can but when they just try to look younger and younger, and if you're 70, look 70.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I don't mind. I'm only 23, but I don't look bad, do I? No. So.
You're older than I am. I thought I was younger than you.
That's right. And somebody said, "What? He's only 23." My God.
It's the lifestyle. Yeah.
Well, that's right.
Well, Jeff, we are at the end of our show. I'm heading over to a post-op to see how my wife's eyes are doing. So anyway, you have a great one next week. We will have a guest, Sumit Mogue,
Yes.
And we're going to talk cameras, lenses, and all sorts of good stuff. He is actually quite an accomplished photographer. So it'll be fun. I know he's done a lot of work for saving the Bengal tigers and all that.
That's right. And that, I could just listen to him for all, so I won't be doing much talking. I'll be listening all next week because he's just great to
I met him through Terrence on eLearn Chat. I hadn't met him before, and he was a good guest. He was actually very interesting.
Yeah, that's right. I wish, because I just love doing his sessions on there, but it's just, he doesn't come over here, so hopefully we can catch up another time if he goes to Devlin, and that's...
Yep. Sounds good. Okay. Well, Jeff, I hope you have a great week, great weekend, and we will see you next week. And for all you people watching, by the way, we've been checking. The subscriptions aren't as good as they should be. So your job this weekend is to watch this show and subscribe to it.
That's right.
Trust me, we're going to run some sort of contest in the near future, and one of you will win something.
And we'll be watching.
We don't know what yet, but you'll win something. But you'll also have our eternal gratification for the subscription.
Yeah, we'll just pick one bit of equipment we don't use anymore. There's a little bit plenty of that.
That's right. We'll give you one of our old Canons. I mean, we love Canon. But anyway, subscribe, hit the up thumb. This one. This one's not good, so don't play that one. Just play with this one. We want to be positive on the show. And we will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching, and this is the end of episode 32. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Bye.